Hi. Talking about male genital mutilation again. Yes, is our microphone right? Yes, talking about male genital mutilation here again. And I've decided to name and shame. I usually name and shame Elizabeth Broderick, the Sex Discrimination Commissioner at the Australian Human Rights and Equal Opportunity Commission, because she won't defend the genital integrity of boys, but, well, I'm not talking specifically about her today. I'm going to name and shame the actual doctor who genitally mutilated me. I found my birth certificate recently because I had to go to the bank and they wanted a whole lot of whatever, so I had to give them a whole lot of details. So I dug up my birth certificate and I found out a bit of information. I'm just working from my mind map here, by the way. My mother told me that the doctor who genitally mutilated me was the same doctor who delivered me. He was her obstetrician. Now, on the birth certificate it mentions the names of the witnesses. They were Dr Stoll, that's S-T-O-L-L, and Sister Reid, that's Sister R-E-I-D. Now this occurred in the early 50s, of course. I'm not a spring chicken. It occurred in the early 50s in Brisbane Women's Hospital in Queensland, Australia. What a welcome party that was for me. I had a welcome party waiting for me when I was born, didn't I? A welcome party with to mutilate me. Yes. Dr Stoll and Sister Reid. Dr Stoll, according to my mother, was her obstetrician. He was quite an old and jolly fellow, so he'd obviously be well over 100 years old by now. I wonder if he was jolly about the money he was paid. Probably. Probably. Yes, Dr Stoll. I'm naming and shaming a Dr Stoll who genitally mutilated me almost 60 years ago. I'm naming and shaming him. And incidentally, 60 years later, I've still got the skin bridging that he gave me. 60 years later, I've still got skin bridging on my penis. Skin bridging for life he gave me. I think, yes, I wonder how many other botches he did, how many other botched circumcisions he did on other boys, I wouldn't know. And as far as I'm concerned, all male genital mutilation is a botch anyway. It's all a botch anyway. Look at erotica and you can see, if you watch some erotica online, just whether it be erotic images, whatever, just have a look and you can see the big, long male genital mutilation, circumcision as they call it, scars on male, erotica. It's appalling. You can see all the long scar. Yes. Yes, how many other botches did that doctor do? Dr Stoll, how many other botches did he do? He gave me skin bridging for life. In fairness to him, it could be said, yes, that it was another time, another generation. It was 60 years ago, after all. And masturbation was still filthy then, wasn't it? It was filthy. Even in the so-called swinging 60s when I grew up in, masturbation was still considered something filthy. And of course, that's one of the main reasons in my country, Australia, along with the US and England, why male genital mutilation was introduced. It was to stop masturbation, wasn't it? Brought in by, what's his name? Dr. Kellogg and Dr. Graham, yes, of Graham crackers and Kellogg's cornflakes for fame. Dr. Kellogg, yes, he introduced it in Victorian times. And they made a science out of male genital mutilation, didn't they? They argued they made a whole science out of it which still continues today. Any argument in defense of so-called medical benefits, of the so-called health benefits of male genital mutilation, all to stop masturbation, ostensibly. And yes, so we're going back to the early 50s when Dr. Stoll mutilated me. Another time, another generation. Here comes that dreadful little cat. Yes, most Australian boys were cut back then in my time. They were. Most Australian boys were cut back then. Terrible, really. So, my mother told me that, she always told me that the circumcision was over in a flash. It was done so quickly I wouldn't even remember it. But in fact, I've since been told that circumcision takes about 20 minutes. It takes about 20 minutes. It does. It's not over in a flash. And wouldn't even remember it. And if it's true that I wouldn't even remember it, does that make it right? I mean, if someone's raped when they're unconscious, they're not going to remember it. It doesn't necessarily make it right, does it? It doesn't. It's a violation upon a person's body. What a welcome party. So I've named and shamed Dr Stoll anyway now. Dr S-T-O-L-L. If you're a relative of Dr Stoll's and you don't like me naming and shaming him as a genital mutilator, well, that's your problem. I've had to live with 60 years of being genitally mutilated, and as I said, I've got skin bridging for life. It's ugly, it's hideous, it's uncomfortable, it's not good to look at, it's awful. It's painful, it's ugly, it's difficult to clean too, yes. It's ugly, and circumcision, male genital mutilation, is ugly anyway. And it's not healthy, it's most unhealthy. Male genital mutilation is unhealthy. And I'm not letting Sister Reid off the hook either. Now, on my birth certificate it says that Sister Reid was one of the witnesses, along with Dr Stoll. Now, I don't know that Sister Reid was the actual nurse that was involved in my genital mutilation, but Sister Reid, if she worked at Brisbane Women's Hospital, it's highly likely that she had at least seen many male genital mutilations, at least. Yes. Was she a participant in male genital mutilation? She probably was, but I can't know for sure. Did she assist in genital mutilations? Probably, but I can't know for sure. Did she stand by silently as boys screamed, whether she agreed with it or not, you know? Did she stand by silently, this Sister Reid, as boys like me screamed our little lungs out? Did she? There are legion of women, mothers and nurses involved in male genital mutilation. Legions of women were involved. And if you go on YouTube today, you'll find plenty of females arguing the case for the so-called benefits, whether they be religious benefits, cultural benefits, or even supposed medical and health benefits of male genital mutilation. You'll find lots of women arguing the case for male genital mutilation on YouTube. So legions of women were involved in male genital mutilation, and as I've said in other videos, it was my mother who decided to have me and my two brothers genitally mutilated. It was her decision, it wasn't my father's. My father was intact, but to be fair to my mother, she was under enormous pressure in the 1950s to genitally mutilate her own children. That was the fashion then, it was the medical fashion. I've said everything I wanted to say on this mind map. I have declared that Dr Stoll mutilated me. What would I like to do to Dr Stoll? Oh well, he's over 100 now and he's gone, but what would I like to do to Sister Reid? I don't like people who participate. I don't like Elizabeth Broderick, the Sex Discrimination Commissioner, who won't defend a little boy. She'll defend a little girl's genital integrity, but won't defend a little boy's genital integrity. It's sexism, it's misandry, and it's shocking, it's a human rights violation, it's barbaric. So be it known, everybody in the world out there on YouTube, that Dr Stoll, S-T-O-L-L, Dr Stoll stole my genital integrity. He took my foreskin away from me without my informed consent, without my permission. And Sister Reid possibly stood there and helped him genitally mutilate me. That's my story. See you for now.